Disclaimer: the views and opinions expressed on Nerdy Talk do not reflect those of Anime Herald. Due to strong language, listener discretion is advised. Now sit back and enjoy the show. Happy holidays, everyone. Welcome to Nerdy Talk, the only podcast where Christmas is always a four-letter word. I'm Mike Ferreira, and this time around I'm joined by Matt Brown and Anthony Simpson.
Yo.
YOLO, bitches.
Jumping right into our first topic tonight. The latest volume of the Attack on Titan manga announced that Kodansha is going to launch an official figure collection magazine starting in April. These books, which are going to have about a $15 price tag, are going to be packaged with a new 4-inch figure. They've already teased the first one of quote-unquote that character, which we all know is Levi, but anyway. By the end of the year, the publishing year, the 12 sets will connect to form a diorama. So, honestly, I kind of thought this was an interesting story to bring up because, I mean, we all know Attack on Titan is huge. I mean, this is white hot at this point still, which is amazing. With the confirmation of the new season, with that surprises absolutely nobody, by the way.
I think they're trying to keep everyone convinced that it's white hot, but it's getting cooler by the minute, and they better release more stuff.
Oh, definitely.
So this is definitely part of that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. This really screams a last-ditch effort to kind of keep it relevant, keep people interested through until the new season's there.
Right.
I would call it a first-ditch effort, but yes.
Well, at least keep the interest there between the movies and then the second season.
Definitely. The only thing I do wonder is if they're going to keep doing things like this or the live experiences and just saturating the market, I just wonder when we're going to reach a point where it's just too much.
Depends on how much they want to keep doing. If they keep pushing stuff, I think it'll be, just too much and that'll be it.
Oh, yeah.
Compared to other shows for boys, I would say it's not anywhere near saturation.
True.
If you consider it more like an adult show, then I think they have a little room to work with, but not much.
Yeah, I see it more as an adult-oriented show. So the way I see it is like they're treating very, very thin ice on.
I think of it as a little bit of both. It has adult content in the sense that it's very violent, but it's still the same old story about a teen hero who has special abilities of some kind.
True. I'm just hoping that this doesn't come to a case where it does alienate one of those two markets, because there's a lot of great content in that. It's a fantastic series overall, but I mean, if they're going to kill it, they're going to just stomp it flat if they're not careful.
I think it could peter out a bit, but not die. It's not anything to be concerned over for them.
True.
Right, and I think also too, a lot of
eventually the second season will start and everybody will get hooked again.
Well, that I guess depends on how good the second season is.
It doesn't really matter. Everyone will watch it.
Yeah.
Well,
and then it'll probably sell like hotcakes again unless something better comes along. And I mean, in the same time.
Yeah, with the second season, it's really going to depend on how it's handled. Like, I know there was definitely some involvement by Isayama during the production phases, like the planning phases. If they can pull him in to kind of guide it again, I think it'll be just fine in terms of quality. But if they can't, then it'll be kind of iffy.
I mean, sure, if they suddenly handed it off to, like, Shaft, it would be ruined.
Oh, yeah.
But assuming IG is making the second season, I don't think we have anything to be worried about.
Yeah, to my knowledge, still Wit Studio IG. We're not going to be seeing the Shaft head tilt entering this, so no worries there.
Or it be where you don't really watch it on television, you just wait till the Blu-rays come out because it'll look actually much better.
Yeah.
Although I think, too, the other thing we got to take in is that this time, hopefully, Wit Studio will have more money and more time for the second season.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, if they can get a bigger budget, it's gonna look amazing.
Oh, they'll sure look at a bigger budget. I mean,
Yeah, no, what am I
as
saying?
well as the first season did in terms of sales, both in Japan and here, though more so in Japan. Yeah, I could see them getting a bigger budget for it.
Yeah, no, what am I saying? It's gonna get a bigger budget. It's Attack on fucking Titan. I mean, anything they put in, it's gonna pay out at least 2 to 3 times over.
It's interesting, just a little bit. I mean, I'm glad it looks like it's gotten popular enough to where I can get something like this. But it's whatever. It's not coming over here. We're not getting it. Sad face. That's all.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's a good point. There's no chance that it'll come out here. The other interesting thing that I kind of neglected to mention was that the prices are, especially for Japan, fairly reasonable, considering you're getting a figure. Even if it's a shitty figure, it all comes together to make this picture that for anybody who ever gets married in the future is going to throw it all out. But still, you have your moment of ooh.
Yeah, true.
That was really condescending what I just said.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure the Fujoshi will probably trying to get their hands on this.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm curious with the sales, to get slightly off topic here because we know it's sold really well in Japan, though. I'm just kind of curious, though, how much of the female fan base picked up on that, because the show, I mean, as gory as the show is, though, you do have to say that the majority of the cast members are male. So I'm kind of curious. When I looked at those sales numbers, I'm like, I wonder how much Fujoshi got on this. The female fandom got on this show, because I said, yeah, it's gory, but I said there's a lot of the characters are males, and I don't think I have to explain the rest on that. But I just kind of was curious myself.
I don't know. I think you're correct in saying that the majority of the cast is male, but
right
in an army situation, that's, I mean, at least for us, is a pretty common thing.
Yeah.
And in fact, in U.S. forces, I think women are still not allowed to be part of combat units.
No, they're not. For whatever.
So I think, considering that, they're facing existential threat, and the women have to contribute, and maybe there aren't as many of them, but we don't know. It's an interesting situation in the fact that we don't really know what their demographics are at all. It may be normal that there are fewer women than men in the armed forces. Maybe there are fewer women than men, period.
Yeah, I don't know.
Moving on, before we go any further, I'd like to welcome Dorian into the broadcast. He ran a bit late, but it's great to have you on.
Yes, I am back from the depths of fighting off zombies and minions and stuff.
I don't know what that means, but welcome.
Welcome back from your journey to the land of wind and ghosts, my friend.
I think what he's saying is he survived Black Friday at Walmart.
Well, yeah. What do you think I was referring to? Speaking of Black Friday, it's the holiday season, which means it's time for those cheesy holiday specials that people claim to like, but they really don't watch. So let's talk about the kind that we'd actually, sit down and want to spend a half an hour with. I know this is kind of a slim pickings situation. There's only so many out there, but what would you say is your favorite anime holiday/Christmas special out there?
I can tell you one that isn't. It's not in my Santa. That show is fucking terrible.
Oh, thanks. You just brought back some repressed memories.
Oh,
Hey,
you have to play the Akamatsu card, don't you?
No, I like Ken Akamatsu, but you know what? Fuck that show. That was gob shit. Like, I watched and I got done. I'm just like, I think I am dumber for just watching that.
You and me both. I mean, even to this day, I show us at my bed name at Christmas parties, and people are like, why do you do this to us? I think I lost 50 IQ points just watching this thing. Why does Santa have a giant rack, and why are they in the tropics?
Hey, if Santa had a giant rack, I would be, well, no, that would just mean he was fat, which is normal. What are you guys talking about?
No, I think you mean he had bitch tits then.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anime holiday special.
Now I
know
feel
I've seen one. I don't remember it.
you're mostly lucky. But now I feel like I'm compelled to mention that the also an Akamatsu Christmas special, the Love Hina Christmas special, is awesome.
Yeah, I actually did remember. I did see that one. Yeah, I did like that.
It's, it's definitely it's an extension of the show. It's not outside of the show, as it were. It's definitely a continuation of the plot, and everything sort of comes to a head as it kind of, as things kind of tend to do during the holidays. And it's played out really well. It's not really a Christmas miracle kind of episode, but it sort of plays out that way just because, it's people thinking about each other, and that's the takeaway.
Now, if we really want to be get a somewhat of a vague time frame here, one of my favorite OVAs that happens in the month of December happens to be Gundam 0080 because it does happen around Christmas time, even though that's kind of stretching the holiday special part there pretty far. But
I'm going to allow it. I would have taken that, or I would have taken Endless Waltz.
Everything about Gundam 0080 is excellent, so yeah, I would allow it too.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't care for Endless Waltz, but yeah, 0080, that's kind of a stretch calling it a Christmas special.
Yeah, but I'll allow it because it's Gundam 0080, and Gundam 0080 is just amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing.
How about you, Matt?
Well, if you're going to allow me to talk first and pretty much snipe your choice, I'll go for it. I would say the Irresponsible Captain Tyler Christmas OVA. And I want to preface this by saying the entire OVA series for the Irresponsible Captain Tyler is awesome. I cannot find any fault with any of it. It's it's funny. It's very serious. I wouldn't say it's gritty, just very serious. He's the most irresponsible person you can think of, and yet he is capable of leading all of these people, and they follow him to the death, and they're all very, they're all completely loyal to him, and it's very inspiring, and that's kind of the backdrop going into the OVA series. So I'd
like to note that the Irresponsible Captain Tyler is one of the few amazing shows that Koichi Mashimo did.
Yeah, and I may be explaining it a little bit badly, but I kind of wanted to drive that point home that his irresponsibility is the comedy of the show, but his character makes all of these people follow him, and pretty much, to the death.
He has a very strange sense of charisma to him.
Yeah. But, part of the comedy is his relationship with, with this woman on the crew. And Mike, I'm sure you can remind me of her name because I haven't watched it in a while. Yuriko? Does that sound right?
Yeah, I think it's Yoriko Star.
Yes. Okay, I remember some things. It's never going to happen again. But all of that kind of comes to a head in this Christmas episode because they're never really serious about the relationship right? He's always doing irresponsible things, and it sort of pisses her off. But somehow, the two of them run the crew really well, and they win battles and all this sort of thing. But this OVA episode is pretty much just about the two of them. And there's this kid who winds up being the catalyst for the whole thing. Like Tyler is supposed to meet Yuriko, and he meets this kid instead first, and like helps him with something. And of course, Yuriko is just waiting around for him to show up, and it's getting later and later, and she's still waiting. And I won't spoil the ending for you, even though if you're listening to this, you're probably never going to watch it, and that's a shame. But I would say it's really endearing. I like the I like the chance happenings part of your traditional Christmas plots. I don't really like the Christmas miracle type story, as it were, but this sort of thing I can definitely get behind. It's like just people who sort of accidentally go out of their way and make someone else's life better for a short time, and it just happens to be around the holidays.
Definitely, I can really agree with that. I mean, also I should note the kid's name is Bob, which is just awesome. I really love how that episode just flows so perfectly. It was it starts off with Bob running a quote unquote present that they think it's a bomb or something like that, and it turns out to be like an alarm clock, and it just continues to kind of go forward, like you said, chance happenings. Like Tyler happens across a bunch of bombs, they end up having an impromptu party in the plaza, and there's really that sense of, it's kind of a two-sided sense of happiness to it. Like there's definitely a more somber aspect to it compared to a lot of the Captain Tyler TV series. I love the subtlety to it, the way that it just lets the world kind of tell the story itself to the characters.
I'm glad that you mentioned that too, because it's sort of it gets to the bottom of what little conflict there is in their relationship, right? Like he goes off on these adventures and he meets people and has fun, and everybody feels better for having met him or whatever, and yet she's just waiting. I feel like that episode, even though it's just a Christmas special, it's that episode describes their entire relationship, and I think there's definitely more to take away from that than just, she's she's happy that she waited, but at the same time, he's having all of this fun and she's just waiting.
Yeah, that's like the central theme to the show, how they just work in all other aspects too. Like you said, it's a brilliant way of just illustrating that to the viewer. All right, how about you, Dorian? Do you have a pick or?
Really? I'm trying to rack my brain. I'm thinking I know I've seen one somewhere, and every time I keep thinking was there a Pokemon one? Was there a Digimon one? Something said something about a big old one. Didn't Cowboy Bebop have one? I'm thinking of all these ones that have one, but I can't remember them. Or was it just because they had snow in them that I just instantly thought Christmas? So.
Did you see Vandred?
No. Or I didn't see all of it. So yeah, I'm stuck on there.
It seems like there's a lot of these things, but not so many that it's impossible to avoid them all.
Yeah.
I've probably seen one and just don't remember it and tossed it off to the side. Either that, like I said, it was just happened to be snowing in that episode, And I was just like, oh, it's a Christmas episode. It's like, no, it's just a snowing episode. Think of plenty of Cowboy Bebop episodes. They seem like a Christmas episode, but it's just snowing. I could have sworn they had one.
Well, pretty much, I think most of your slice of life shows are going to at least have a Christmas episode in there somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, even Lucky Star had one with can't remember the episode title, unfortunately.
Yeah, I can't remember it either.
I do think it's funny that you guys brought up Itsudate Masanta just to say how bad it was. So now other people may watch it.
Nah, I don't recommend that.
Other people will share in the pain.
No, this might turn people away from anime if they see this.
I will say this now: if you watch it, have a bottle of some alcoholic beverage handy, because it will be gone by the end of the first 5 or 6 minutes.
You might want to also have 911 ready for dialing in case you get alcohol poisoning.
Yeah,
not just any alcohol. Make sure it's something that cuts through quick, like tequila.
I was gonna say anything 100 proof plus, but
I was gonna say some, a little bit, get festive, make some eggnog, put a nice, 8 ounces of bourbon in it.
8 ounces. That's what you consider spiked.
For one glass?
If it's like 200 proof.
Well, if one glass is 8 ounces and you're putting in 8 ounces of bourbon, then there's not room for anything else.
Exactly.
So you would have to.
Exactly.
You would have to define what one glass means. All right, fine.
Don't
get what you're saying.
Don't tell the kids this.
The folks at Anime Herald do not condone excessive drinking. Please drink responsibly and do not drive under the influence. Since Matt went and basically called my number one pick, I'll just pull one that I'd like to say is incredibly notable. I'd probably say second on my list would be the You're Under Arrest Christmas episode, Santa Claus Panic, which, if you've seen You're Under Arrest, you know it's basically a slice of life office comedy kind of show where it revolves around Miyuki and Natsumi, who are traffic cops in a Japan police department. But they sometimes get wrapped up in larger things, which is exactly what happens in this episode. Basically,
it's the Bokuto precinct, right?
Yep, Bokuto Police Department.
I don't know how I remember that, but obviously it stuck with me.
Because You're Under Arrest is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, but usually that's not enough. Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, the episode is one of those where they get wrapped up into something bigger, like I was saying. Basically, in their district, a crooked Santa has been breaking into houses and basically robbing families blind in the build-up to Christmas. And one of the girls that, school children that they always run into, her house was hit. So they kind of take it upon themselves to get to the bottom of this and kind of save Christmas for this young child, which is really sweet in itself. But given that this is You're Under Arrest, things get a little bit crazy really fast. Because in addition to the cat burglar Santa, there is a vigilante who's calling himself Santa Man, who is basically the best villain ever. He is Strike Man, the absolute
Strike Man, yeah.
Who is basically a loony who acts like more demented Batman, if you could put it that way.
Picture a really, a ridiculously muscular guy on a motorcycle with a Santa hat on and sunglasses.
Exactly. And a ski mask.
Like a Harley Davidson motorcycle, not one of those crazy, fast, quiet Japanese motorcycles.
Yeah, this thing is huge. And he's been going through the town, basically delivering his own twisted version of justice, deeming people naughty or nice on sight, which is giving them a bunch of other headaches. So the whole crux of the episode is they have to Miyuki and Natsumi have to deal with not only this crooked Santa Claus, but they also have to deal with Santa Claus Man, while also finding a way to get their own Christmas plans to work out. Honestly, I just love this episode. The core episode is just fantastic in itself, with the plot of the thieving Kringle restoring the whole innocence of Christmas for a kid. That's great. But the addition of Santa Man just put it onto an entirely new level. It was just... it gave this level of its story that really was over the top, genuinely funny, and distinctly you're under arrest. One of the best in the show's 52 episode run, and I keep coming back to it year after year.
I mean, all the same, it's not like this kid that they saved Christmas for is a real Cindy Lou Who, you know what I'm saying?
No.
She wants her stuff back.
Oh yeah, she wants her stuff back. She's not doing it for the goodness of her heart. She wants her shit back.
She wants her shit back.
But, yeah. Nothing but nice things to say about that episode.
Kind of an honorable mention for me. I really liked the Christmas episode for Read or Die TV. It's kind of it was really low key. You know, the one of the main characters goes to a party and sort of gets chastised by her colleagues who are putting out more work than she is or something, and then the rest of the characters later on are like, we're going to tell you the story of our family, and it's really enduring.
And I'd like to also kind of throw out an honorable mention for Urusei Yatsura. One of the first episodes during the season, the first season I think it was. I mean, this is like really early on. They had a Christmas episode that kind of started like any other. Basically, Ataru wants to look up lace skirts. Lum disapproves, and, shocks the hell out of him. And Ataru's friends are just fed up with it. So, in a ramen and male hormone-fueled rage, they kind of devise this crazy plan to split them up over Christmas by screwing up their Christmas Eve date. To do so, they sent Ataru a letter from a mysterious female named Kumino Otoko, which is, if you can read Japanese, it translates to the dudes in class. Ataru, not too bright, goes up to his fake date, and they pretty much use this as a lure to bring in like anyone to basically kill the guy, from hitmen to lucha libre wrestlers to even like this random newspaper photographer. And they just try and make his life a living hell for the night. Lum, having none of it, just manages to kind of swoop in, save the day for him. And it really just ends up as a nice, sweet episode. Definitely one of the better early Takahashi bits. And it really kind of got to that whole core of the relationship between the two characters. It was a sweet episode. Okay, moving on. Since we're coming close to the end of the year, and this is our last show till we meet in January, I figured I'd kind of get your guys' opinions on what you thought was your top show for the year, and later on your worst show. So let's start with you, Anthony. What would you say is your number one show this year?
Okay, this is going to be a tough one, because let's just say that I think 2014, in just terms of anime that's come out this year, is probably the best I've think so far this decade. At least I think it is. I mean, it's been a great year. There's a lot of just really outstanding shows that have come out. Stuff that I'm sure that probably in the future will still be remembered. Of course, some of them might not be. So before I get to what my number one is, I'm going to preface this that I am going to be writing an article for the website about some of my shows, some of my stuff for the year, end of the year. So what I would say tonight might not be the same for what I write in the list, but it probably will be. But I just wanted to get that out there first. So I actually have two number one shows, because I think both of them were good in their own ways, but in terms of quality, I think they're both about equal. And that's going to be No Game, No Life, which aired in the springtime, and Barakamon, which aired in the summer. Now, we've explained before about No Game, No Life, why it's so amazing. So I'm going to talk about Barakamon for a little bit, because I really never did ever talk about this, why I think this show's so great. So the show's about this guy who's a calligraphy master, and he's only like 23 years old. So when he's at a art exhibit, having his calligraphy shown, the director of it says, well, this just looks like, this isn't really, this is uninspiring, it just looks like something out of a copybook. So he responds the way any adult would, and he just punches the guy in the face. So his dad's like, well, you need to go chill for a while. So he sends him off to, I think they call it the Goto Islands, which is out near Kyushu.
I'm pretty sure most adults wouldn't respond that way. Just, interjecting.
I'm making a bad joke here. So his dad sends him off to this island to live by himself for a while to kind of cool down. And when he's on this island, he meets the people that live there, all the residents of this island. I shouldn't say all the residents because he doesn't meet everybody, but this little community he lives with. But what's so great about it is that a show about calligraphy probably is not going to sound very exciting. It just sounds like it's just going to be, mundane kind of. But what about it works, though, is just how all the cast members all work together, how they all just, they all flow together. And I think one of the other things that the series really did well was that for all the child characters, the little kids, we'll just say the elementary school children, they're actually all voiced by real children instead of having adults do kid voices, which I know that doesn't happen a lot in anime. But for this, it really works well because the kids, the children in the show feel like real children. They don't feel like, oh, it's this character, but oh, they're a genius. They're like oh yes, this person's like 8 years old, but they're like a genius and a high school teacher. You don't have any of that. And the characters they're all feel very realistic. They don't feel like characters of the show. They just feel like real people. And I know Funimation's probably going to dub this, and they're going to do their best. But this is going to be one of them shows I think that no matter how well that dub is, it's not going to stand up to what the Japanese performance is. Because that, like I said, that Japanese performance was just so the actors there were just did such a good job. Another thing too, and I thought this was another nice touch, was that they got some people on to consult on the show, or for people from that actual region who had an accent. And I thought that was another very good touch for the show. So not everybody just sounds like, oh, they're just, talking in either a Tokyo accent or, just a general accent. But they have this really specific regional accent. And I really thought that was just a really, really nice touch to the show. So that's my two number one shows for the year. So what about you, Mike?
I'd like to jump in and suggest that maybe for those of us who use the Roman alphabet, and which is quite a lot of us around the planet, calligraphy is not maybe the most expressive form of writing, but I think when it comes to Asian characters, especially Southeast Asian and Chinese and Japanese, and etc., those are really complex characters, and I think calligraphy means a lot more to them than it does to us. And I think especially like the Yimo Jang movie, Hero, alludes to that a little bit.
Yeah, I would say that's true because in this show, like the main dude, like he's calligraphy master, and he has has been interviewed a bunch of times, and he does spend like each episode, he spends time trying to come up with something, at the end of it. Some he work some piece of some drawing he does for his for this showing that he's going to have back in Tokyo, which does happen at the end of the series.
Yeah, it's like the traditional form of font designer, almost.
Yeah. I know Dorian was watching that one. So that's my best shows of the year.
All right. How about you, Dorian?
This was really tough. Usually I'm a very action show guy. So the generic answer for me would have been something like a Gamega Kill or a Fate State Night, which is beautiful, by the way. It's so beautiful. But unfortunately, action didn't make my top tonight, or this year. This year, I'm gonna have to go with No Game No Life. It's very rare that a show gets me from episode 1 and gets me all the way to the end. And that was the last show that did that was Attack on Titan. So for a show with little to no action that works more on dialogue to actually get me from episode 1 to the last, I was impressed enough. And there's the fact that I haven't watched as much as I would like to watch. But yeah, No Game No Life is probably my favorite because it also represents to me what many people thought Yu-Gi-Oh! Was going to be. Instead of being a 30-minute commercial for the card game.
Cars on motorcycles.
that too. But yeah, it's just very different and just actually very pretty well animated show for the most part. So yeah, I would probably go with that one.
Definitely an awesome choice. No Game No Life was absolutely wonderful. That was like the standout for the spring for I'd probably say just about all of us. Am I right?
Yeah. Because we did pick it for our spring show. Or as when we did our best of the year or best of the season for spring, we all picked No Game No Life unanimously.
Yeah, it was a wonderful show.
That was amazing.
Can't say enough nice things about it.
No, you can't. Poor Steph always get abused.
Poor Steph.
Be okay.
So, how about you, Matt?
I have to agree with what Dorian said, and the sentiment of the last minute or so in general. No Game No Life is my pick. It's funny. It drives home, I think, the most important point of game theory is that a lot of scenarios come down to the Nash equilibrium. It's not just what's best for you. I mean, self-interest is very important in game theory, right? But it's also you have a better outcome if you go after not only your interest but the interest of the group or community you're a part of, right? And that's definitely present in No Game No Life. The main characters of that show are definitely out for themselves, right? Because they want more and more challenges. They keep winning, and obviously they want to keep progressing along that point and until they meet somebody who's able to challenge them completely. But sort of along the way, they meet all of these people who are supporting them in various ways, but they're all, some of them actually challenge them too. So it's like, as they go on, things are getting more complicated. Like, it's not just about them anymore. And I think that's if the show winds up being animated further, and I honestly hope it does, I think that's where it's going to keep going. That it's not just about them anymore. And winning means winning for everyone.
Yeah, definitely.
I really just hope it continues. And the other good part about the show, a show like this could easily fall into Deus Ex Machina territory. And the show kind of gets close to that, but doesn't necessarily cross it, or they have a very nice, lengthy explanation for why the outcome was the outcome. So that's another good point.
Yeah, everything is definitely based in a solid sense of logic, which really is great to see.
Deus Ex is always a threat, I think, to plots everywhere. But I don't know. I think for this particular story, so far I have to disagree. I think their own wits are what gets them to go forward, and sure, they pick up new capabilities along the way in terms of people they've beaten who, by virtue of the terms of the bet or the game, are forced to help them. But so far, I haven't seen anything really come out of left field to give them the win,
Yeah, it's just really some of the lengthy explanations may feel like that. Or there's just lengthy explanations as to why that happened. So that's what I was referring to.
Sure. I mean, I would definitely agree that it's convenient, some of the outcomes, given what we're told ahead of time and what we're told right in the middle of the game when it's like, oh, by the way, this character has the capability to do this, so we totally exploited that, just FYI. So I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I have to appreciate some of the cleverness that goes into those, though. Like, my favorite would probably still be the Shiratori game with Jibril, where they managed to get Jibril to just play right into the hands. Like, they first get rid of Oxygen, then they kind of lead her along into this surprisingly elaborate. Like, it seems like they're just being kind of flippant with their moves, and it just builds into that elaborate plan where they end up
destruction of the universe.
Yeah, they end up blowing up the universe.
Yeah, Shiritori is really fun. I've seen a lot of shows do that well. Holic is a good example of that. It's not the sort of game that we would be capable of playing in our language, but the Japanese language is like, okay, it's 5 or 6 different sounds that a word can end on, and as long as you don't end with the N sound, you're gonna keep going. And there's a lot of words that end with the N sound, so it's like, oh crap, I lost the game.
All right, and I have to really say, No Game No Life was my pick for the year too. Just for the reason we've been kind of mentioning here, it is without a doubt probably the strongest showing that we've seen to date. I mean, I love Fate, I love Shirobako. There are so many wonderful shows out there that I could comment on, but No Game No Life is just one where I just adore it. It was one where I couldn't wait to see what happens next every single week, and I powered right through it.
Yeah, it's remarkable that it was able to do in, 12 episodes, what all of the other shows that we love are struggling to do in 22 or 24.
Or 300.
Yeah, I mean, they built a full breathing world, an intricate cast system, a really strong premise, great characters. It was just a wonderful show. The writing was good, the humor was always funny. Poor Stephanie.
Voice acting, very great.
Oh yeah,
voice acting.
Yeah, that was really good too in that show.
Especially Sora. Oh my god, he was like, man.
Can't deny the stethoscope.
No.
No, you can't either.
So I think we're in agreement on that one. Would you all say that it's barring something spectacular, probably all of our picks of the year here, or
Yeah, I'd say
I think
mine
that's what
are
we just said.
yeah? So it's official, guys. No Game No Life is Anime Herald's show of the year.
Yeah. If we were the Oscars, it would win all the awards. Almost.
Well, Face Day Night would definitely
Uh.
win a lot.
Yeah.
No, not in my book.
Mm.
If I'm part of this academy. I love Fate's Day Night, don't get me wrong.
Mm.
Just I know how Type Moon operates.
Mm. True.
See through their tricks.
Yeah.
But I love their tricks. Don't get me wrong.
Their tricks are so pretty, though. Look at it.
They are. All right. Now we've heard the best, let's talk about the rest. What would you say is your worst show this year?
I'm actually gonna let you guys go first on this one.
Okay, I guess I'll go first. My worst show of the year would probably be Black Bullet. Yep, that's right. A show about grown men fighting with little girls, alongside little girls. That's right.
Mm.
Now the reason
They couldn't fight little girls by themselves. They had to recruit little girls to help them fight little girls.
Well, you see,
on
if it's
some episodes, yeah, it seems like that. Yeah.
well,
Okay. Now, on the outskirts, the show is kind of an okay-ish at times. And at other times, it has these heart-wrenching moments that make you want to cry. Like, oh, those poor things. But there's so many other things wrong with the show besides the somewhat pedophilic nature of it, and that it seems to try to be two things. Just the intro and the outro seem to try to command two different types of shows. That intro is Attack on Titan. That outro is Madoka Magica. And in the show itself, it seems it tries to do that, and it does not work. It sounds like the most greatest and awesomest idea ever.
Attack on Madoka.
Yes, those Madoka Magic girls fighting titans sounds like the greatest thing ever. It's not. Because there are no titans. There are giant bugs. And there's the fact that the show is so horribly paced. I don't know if it was based on the manga. That's just the one part I wanted to look up. But it seems like they tried to compact 15 volumes of a manga, or 20 volumes of a manga, and try to compact it into 16 episodes. And what you get is one of rushed, exposition-filled, character-making switches without any build-up to them. You would ever see. And the worst part is, it has a lot of potential. It's a show it's one of the shows that's animated well. It's not even a badly animated show. But it's just, it paces through so quick. It tries to fill you with just nothing but exposition and my dick bigger than your dick. Or, I don't know what you would say, rest in this case, maybe. Even down to some of the characters, like the male character in this show is what you would like to see in other male characters in anime. But he's not developed. He doesn't really develop. No one seems to develop anything. No one really seems to grow. They just seem to just change. There's no growth. It's just change. It's like we go through like 5 arcs through this whole show, 16 episodes, 5 arcs. No one changes. No one grows. They just change.
It almost sounds like you're saying the show is tedious to watch.
Mm.
It's up to that point. Like I said, this is one of the reason why it's the worst, because it has the moments of brilliance. And they just fuck that brilliance all up by not masking in it. They just go, oh, on to the next shit. Oh, here's a joke about A little girl touching a grown woman's breast. I tried to give that. I tried to level the show. It's like, maybe the jokes would grow on me. It's like, no, they don't. And even after all those nice little brilliant moments, the ending, the ending, just the last episode, there's so much stuff just goes down. And where you just see the characters, once again, you just see characters change or just do something that's kind of out of character. It's like, you didn't build up to this. This is not build up to this. You just did it. So, yeah, that's my worst show. Probably not as bad as it sound, but it just infuriated the heck out of me.
Yeah, I'm going to interject here. I actually did watch most of that show, and I will agree with Dorian. It had a lot of potential, and it did look nice, but yeah, that exposition that killed it for me, because like the first episode, like the first half was great, and then the second half is basically the main character talking to this doctor, having her explain to him about monsters, that he should know all this stuff because he obviously kills these monsters. So she's like, let me tell you about all these monster classes. I'm thinking, you already know all this stuff, which, I mean, I understand you have to do some exposition for the viewer, but
you really don't.
No, but the exposition really that killed me. And then, yeah, I got to a point, I think I got like 10, I think I got to episode 10. I'm just like, I'm done. I jumped off ship. But yeah, it had a lot of potential, but yeah, it just was unfortunate.
I'm just going to jump in as the bit of info here. Black Bolt is based on a series of light novels that are still ongoing. So it might have been a case of them trying to cram too much in that case.
Yeah.
Especially if it says it's still ongoing.
Or making stuff up, as it were, and it's just crap.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Well,
it just could have been like a Twilight thing. It's like,
yeah,
the book is bad, the show is bad, it's bad all around.
Yeah.
Well,
sure.
I mean, it is entirely possible to do.
I'm
gonna get a side here, little thing to do where you have something that, like, say, the light novels are still ongoing, but able to adapt it, at least part of it, well. I'm just going to an example here real quick, and then we'll get back on topic. Is going to be it's High School DxD, which the light novels are still ongoing, but like I think each season only adapts a few novels, so you don't have where like it seems like everything's rushing through to get all the material. But that's we're getting off topic here, so. But yeah, that does seem to be a problem with a lot of adaptations from light novels, where they're just trying to do too much in too little amount of time.
I just want to say that if I wrote something that was completely terrible and all of the preteens and all of their moms and all of the teachers, etc., absolutely love it, I would not feel bad about making lots of money selling my terrible work to those people.
Oh, I wouldn't either. I'd be laughing all the way to the bank.
They're buying shit. Oh my god. They don't care.
Yeah, there's a certain amount of money that makes it all worth it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
everyone has a price. 200 million? Okay, you can take my crappy book. But why would you want that? It's like, crappy. We give you $200 million for it. Sold. Here you go. Have it.
All right. Getting back on topic. How about you, Matt? What would you say is your worst this season?
I feel like, well, okay, this season is different than this year, but I think
this year. Sorry.
It's really hard to just. I feel like I'm just picking something, but I'll go ahead and say it. My biggest disappointment of the shows that I watched this year was Rail Wars. I really felt like, even though it's a total harem and there's big boobs all around, I felt like, it would have done at least well enough to be one of the harem shows that I like. And There's, a few of those at least. It's not like I hate them all, but this one is like it just tanked really hard, and I couldn't continue. It was like the tricks are always cheap in harem shows, but in this case it was too cheap. I don't know. I can't really say anything more about it. I like harem shows. I try to watch them. But this one just, completely after about I don't know, five or six episodes, it completely ruined any chance to continue watching it and getting any value out of it.
Yeah, I think the beginning and the end of that series was that one where they were trying to get through the city, and it was just an excuse to get the female lead down to her brown panties.
Yeah, and I probably should have, elaborated on that, but that, for me, that was the end of the series. I did not watch it past that.
Yeah, that was the kiss of death. I mean, I really did try, but I had to give up like an episode or two after that.
I really feel like this year, at least the shows that I've been able to catch some of, has been pretty good. I want to mention that.
Yeah, I have to agree. It has been a really good year for anime.
Even the shows you think were going to suck did not suck.
I wouldn't say that, but
well, they weren't as bad as you thought.
There were fewer shows that I thought would suck.
Yeah. How about you, Anthony?
Okay, yet again, I'm going to have two of them. One was a show. The first one actually is a show that I did not finish, but it was a short called Himigoto. Now, I generally mentioned this before enough on the show. I'm not a huge fan of short anime series. The only one I've ever really got into so far and enjoyed was the Italia series. And this one, I waited until it was finished, and I'm like, I'll give it a shot. Let me tell you something. Fuck this show to the end of time, because it was terrible for as short as it was. Now, here's why. So, the concept enough, it wasn't bad. Basically, what it's about is it's this guy who his parents decide to go all over the world and spend all this money in his name, so they have all these debts. So he gets cornered by the Yakuza. And the student council, the student council at the school he goes to, for whatever reason, has all this money to just miraculously pay off his debt. So they decide, well, he's happy now, his debt's paid off. But there's a caveat. And when you first see him, he's dressed up, and the main character is a guy, but he looks really feminine. So they have him dressed like a maid. The Yakuza have him dressed like a maid, panties and all. So the student council decides, well, since you paid off our debts, you're going to be our pet. And as part of that, you're going to have to dress as a girl the rest of the time. When you're just, for the rest of your time here at this high school, you're going to be dressed as a guy. So that part wasn't so bad. So in the first episode, the student council I forget who it was in the student council decides, we're going to have to make a point here. So they flip his skirt up during a presentation to show that he's a new student council member, to show, of course, the minute they do that, they zoom right in his junk, which I don't have a problem with. But the problem here...
I think I would have a problem with that.
Well, he's humiliated. And he's humiliated, obviously, by this. So here's where the problem lies. Almost nobody in the show is fucking likable. The main dude, he's likable, and his brother, who happens to also be a feminine-looking guy who's also a trap, he's likable. But the whole student council, which technically I would say is one of the more important parts of the show, those three girls are so unlikable that it got to the point where, like, somebody could have just killed them all of them, and the show would have been like the best show of the year. And it just wasn't funny. It just they got more mean spirited towards the dude, and I'm like I've had enough of this. So don't watch Imigoto. It's fucking terrible. That didn't look all that great either. So I'm gonna have another show which is sort of like Dorian mentioned. It had a lot of potential, but then just shit it all down the toilet. Is going to be a show called Wizard Barsters. Now, I'll say that this show at first looked really good. It looked really interesting, and it had some good things to it. Basically, it's about this girl who, let's see what her name is. I think it's Cecil or something. I'm going to not pronounce it right. She becomes what they call a wizard barster, which is a lawyer for wizards, because in this time society, humans and wizards live together. But wizards, for whatever reason, never explained, are basically discriminated against. Like, they can't hold public jobs, like they can't be a cop, or they can't work for the government. They can only just work in the private sector. And they're basically restricted on what they can do, because of their magic, they have to have basically these laws set for them so that if they use any of it, they get in trouble. And this girl basically has to defend them in these magic courts. And I say this in air quotes. So that all sounds like this would be an interesting show. And I'll admit it started out pretty interesting. Like I said, it looked nice at first. Then the show gets to the court scenes. And let me tell you something. They are a fucking joke. It's basically, they're terrible. I mean, let me put it this way. It's just bad, okay? It's just awful. The court scenes are a joke, because look, I've been on jury duty, okay, and I do know how this operates, even though I've only been on civil cases, not criminal cases.
You've been in a jury in Japan?
No, in the United States. No, I've been a jury here in the U.S. A lot of these things are just won by emotional appeals, which is just kind of funny. But the worst of this, though, is that it just has this plot that just kind of goes all over the place. It has some good concepts, like how they keep making the other barsters, the other lawyers, criticize the main girl because she wears like ridiculous outfits they call cosplay outfits to court, which is were ridiculous. That fact that she's really young, she's like 17. But where the best part of this falls, where the show really shits the bed, is at the end. Because the last 2 episodes really had no animation, okay? They were still, like it was still after still after still shot. Just stuff happened, like you heard the sound effect, but you didn't actually see what happened. Like, they just, like, people gasp. And if it's like, look, if it's be static for a couple seconds, like maybe 2 or 3 seconds, you'd hear something going on. You'd have no clue what the hell was happening, and then you'd see the after effect.
Isn't 17 years old like old maid in Japan?
We're going down another road I don't want to go down.
Yeah, I'm just trying
I'm
trying to follow what you're saying.
What I'm saying is the show is fucking garbage.
Yeah, I definitely caught that.
Yeah, and the CGI I didn't think the CGI was terrible, but then it gets us some really stuff that just comes out of nowhere. Like, there's some cults involved with this girl's special powers, and again, and then like I said, the whole no animation that basically was the last 2 episodes, and there's some shows I never wish existed. They're like, most stuff I think should exist for some reason or another. I wish the show didn't fucking exist, because it's just so terrible.
If you could put it in, let's say, 2 sentences, how would you describe how bad the show is?
Let's say, okay, it started off interesting, and then just like basically then just went Like it peaked at episode 1 and then just basically went down. Well, no, you know what? No, I wouldn't say it peaked at episode 1. I'm sorry. How would I say this? It had some good ideas. The concept itself wasn't bad, but it was executed badly. And they wasted all the animation budget too soon. Which I know that's not anywhere close to being good English, but basically, to sum it up real quickly, don't watch Wizard Barsters. It's fucking confusing and it's fucking terrible.
Cool.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's just the bet at the end so badly. It's
yeah.
If this is one of those things that doesn't take itself seriously, it might almost be comical, but it doesn't. It takes itself completely seriously.
Yeah. So everyone avoid Wizard Barristers.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the concept wasn't bad.
If only
like I
they
said,
had Bruce Campbell.
Like I said, the concept of a society where humans and wizards exist, but the wizards are segregated is not a bad concept. And you could have at least had something to explain, okay, why is there this segregation? Which my guess is because of the magic. That's never explained.
That sort of already happened in the sense of I don't remember the Japanese title, but Some Days Dreamers.
I mean, like I said, it was an interesting concept, and having the law aspect actually was what interested me, but it did it so bad. It was just written so hand-fisted and so bad. It just it's just like you saw and you're just like, oh god, this is like one of those bad like backcourt TV docudramas could have done better than this. So those are my 2 worst shows of the year.
All right. I guess I'll take up the last spot. My pick should come as no surprise to anybody. You've heard me rant, you've heard me rave, you've heard me curse about these shows on the air. And it was surprisingly easy to narrow it down to one show that I would say is the absolute worst. For me, it would be Wonder Momo. Man, fuck Wonder Momo.
You mean your worst show wasn't Denki Guy?
Man, fuck Denki Guy.
It wasn't Persona?
Persona, the problem wasn't the fact that it's a bad show. I mean, it is, but it was the fact that
it was a bad show, but the problem wasn't that it was a bad show.
It was a bad cash cow.
The problem is that it was paced badly. The writing could have been better, and if they had more than 12 episodes, it could have been something surprisingly good. But they went that whole quote-unquote New Game Plus route that the Persona fanboys ate up like it was, like it was cheap all you can eat buffet. There we go.
It wasn't long enough to surprise you, so it was unsurprising. So that's the problem.
It wasn't long enough to tell. It wasn't long enough to tell a complete story. So what they did was they literally cut out all character development outside of the new character and shoehorned in major events. That pretty much
it sounds like you're saying that there is almost giving them the benefit of the doubt. They must have planned a longer show.
No, they did not plan a longer show.
Given what they actually got, they chopped it all up to hell.
No, they did not plan a longer show because you can tell.
So it's just terrible.
It's just terrible. I am going to be again. I am harshly criticizing Persona on the air. I am going to be fucking crucified at some point. But anyway, yeah.
It's not worse than Super.
It's like you're literally calling to be crucified because this is the second time you said that.
I know, but it doesn't make any less true. Anyway.
So Wonder Momo is worse than Supersonico?
Yeah. Why'd you have to bring that up?
Sounds like It sounded like Supersonico was obviously bad, and Wonder Momo was not immediately obviously bad.
It was like Wonder Momo has a chance. It has Momo in the title.
Also, what Supersonico was last year?
It means peach. It's like James and the Giant Peach or something. Or
Oh shit! No, it wasn't. It was
Oh,
this
Supersonic
year.
was this year.
It was
Oh Jesus Christ! Well,
Japanese.
no, fuck. That's my worst choice. Oh my god, that show was garbage. Jesus Christ! It was so bad it blocked out my memory. That's how bad it was. Supersonico takes the king. Man, fuck Supersonico. Fuck that show. Burn it in fucking hell.
Jesus.
It's a little harsh,
That's
Mike.
a bad memory.
You cannot be too harsh with that show. It is just bad.
No, I've never seen it, so I don't know. I'll take your word for it. It never really interested me to begin with.
Yeah, I forgot that was a winter 2014 show. Oh my god, I thought that was late I thought that was late 2013. Man.
Of course, if it was Wonder Momotaro instead of Wonder Momo, that would be way worse.
Yes, it would. Then we'd have something really awkward. But yeah, Supersonico, number 1. Oh my god, how did I forget that was this year?
Because you wanted to, and the rest of us wanted to too. So, thanks.
Well,
We didn't forget.
the rest of us forgot because we never watched it. Mike watched it.
Yeah, we forgot it was this year because you wanted the rest of us to, and you're the only one that's watched it. Still, thankfully.
Yeah.
Let's
I'm
keep it
looking
that
at
way.
the picture right now. It doesn't look so bad. Wait a minute. No, the reason I brought it up is I was just remember you ranting about it and then looking at a picture and so like, it's not so. It doesn't look bad, but.
I don't know. It's almost like Supersonico is the same thing as North Korea doing nuclear missile tests.
What?
They want your attention and they want you to say they're the worst thing ever right now.
That
But
sort of reminds me of when I compare
Otherwise,
Media
who cares?
That sort of reminds me when I compare Media Blasters to North Korea all those months ago.
Yeah, let's get away from North Korea talk.
Yeah, we don't want to get hacked like Sony did.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness! Wow, this is not a unanimous vote on worst of the year. Well, besides Rail War.
Yeah.
I only seen the first
Blasters
episode.
is more like Russia.
Yeah, so
with the same financial situation.
yeah, so be lucky, anime companies. You all avoided the unanimous Brown Spiral Award.
If this was the Razzies, it would be hard. It would be like the year. It would be like this movie year where you have Transformer: Age of Extinction and No Good Deeds, and what was that movie called? That Elvis movie or Elvis wannabe movie come out, or that Left Behind movie. It's so hard to pick and choose which one is so bad.
Oh yeah, it is.
Oh my
I
god.
don't know about anyone else, but I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah. The Razzies are an award given away every year before the Oscars to choose for the Hollywood insiders to kind of make fun of their picks for the worst movies of the year.
Are those already out?
They're given out about a week before the Oscars.
Okay, so next year sometime.
Right.
And see, we're both the Oscars. And
Yeah, because they usually announce
You
them
get both.
around. I think don't they usually announce them around the same time?
Yeah. Usually it's like day and date because they kind of coordinate because it's the Oscar Academy finds it funny.
I don't know.
Yeah, because they give them I think like the night like that day before or something like the. Yes, they give them right before the Oscars.
Yeah.
It's like isn't it the day before?
Yeah, it's like 1 or 2 days before.
Yeah.
Pretty much all I care about in 2015 early is when Xeno is coming out.
Yeah, agreed.
#gamer.
All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us. And I just want to let you all know this is the end of our first season, 26 episodes. We're going to be taking a short break till the beginning of next year, but we'll be back. We'll be here to talk nerdy to you once again in 2015. So I'd like to take a moment to thank everyone that's been on the show. You guys, from you guys to our wonderful guests, LB Bryant, Robert Woodhead, Charlene Ingram, Jessica Calvello, you all rock. I'm hoping to have more people on in the next year, but things like that will happen when they happen. Anyway, hope you all have a happy and safe holiday. Till next time, this is Mike Ferreira signing off.
This is Anthony Simpson. Everybody have a Merry fucking Christmas and sign our bye-bye.
This is Dorian Chadwick. Hoping you all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Stay away from the eggnog, please.
And Supersonico.
This is Matt Brown. I'm going to take that eggnog.
Happy holidays, everyone, and see you in 2015. Thanks for joining us. Hope to see you again soon.
Yeah.
Woo!